Ladies, let's get one thing clear. The idea that a woman must protect her husband from other women isn't just outdated, it's exhausting. Because we're not here to play watchdogs, we're not bodyguards in heels. And we're certainly not competing in some invisible race for attention, loyalty, or love. But I understand where this question comes from fear, from pain, from insecurity that often isn't ours to carry, but somehow ends up in our hands. You love someone deeply, you've built a life, maybe you've sacrificed dreams, given time, nurtured every corner of your marriage like a sacred garden, and then suddenly there's a shadow, a message, a change in behavior. A gut feeling, that's when the question hits, how do I protect what's mine? The truth, you don't protect a man from other women, you protect your peace, you protect your worth, you protect your standard. Because a man who is yours in heart, soul, and respect doesn't need to be guarded like treasure in a vault. Loyalty isn't something you chase, it's something you inspire, not through control, but through connection. What does that look like? It looks like knowing your value so clearly that even if someone walks away, you don't collapse, you rise. It means showing up as your full, unapologetic self, not bending to be more like her, whoever she is. It means making your relationship so honest, so deeply rooted in respect and real intimacy, that no temporary thrill can replace what you've built. But let's not ignore the hard truth. If he's looking elsewhere, the problem isn't her. It's him. You're not in competition with anyone. This isn't about being prettier, smarter, more exciting, more submissive, more bold. This is about emotional maturity. It's about integrity. And if he lacks it, it's not your job to babysit his discipline. You are a partner, not a prison. You are a woman, not a warning sign. Your presence in his life should be an anchor, not a leash. And if he can't recognize that, if he chooses distraction over devotion, then ask yourself this: why am I trying to protect someone who isn't protecting us? Real love is not threatened by beauty or novelty. Real commitment isn't shaken by temptation. It's not a test you have to pass, it's a choice someone makes every single day. So instead of fighting shadows, build light. Build a bond so open that insecurities have no room to grow. Be the kind of woman who radiates so much grace, depth, and dignity that no other woman can take your man because he wouldn't dare risk losing you. And if he still strays, then know this: you didn't lose him. He lost you. And some losses are forever. In the end, the strongest way to protect your relationship is to stop trying to control the uncontrollable. Start protecting you, your joy, your energy, your sanity, because the woman who knows her worth doesn't chase, doesn't beg, and doesn't fear other women. She simply shines. And that's more powerful than any rival will ever. You're not his guard. You're his partner. You are not responsible for monitoring your husband's behavior or shielding him from temptation. True partnership is built on trust, not control. Inspire loyalty. Don't chase it. Real loyalty comes from deep emotional connection and mutual respect, not from policing his actions or competing with others. Don't compete. Elevate. You are not in competition with any other woman. Your power lies in knowing your worth and never shrinking to outshine someone else. If he looks elsewhere, the issue is him, not her. Infidelity or disloyalty is a reflection of his choices, and his integrity not a reflection of your shortcomings or another woman's charm. Protect your peace before your relationship, your energy, mental health, and self-respect matter more than holding on to someone who doesn't value them. Prioritize your inner peace above all else. Let your worth speak louder than your fears. A woman who knows her value doesn't beg to be kept. She commands respect, radiates confidence, and walks away when loyalty is no longer mutual. You're not his guard, you're his partner, and that's a powerful distinction that too many women forget while trying to keep their marriage intact. It's not your job to track every call, analyze every glance, or stress over every woman who smiles at him. Your purpose in his life isn't to patrol boundaries, it's to build a bond. You are not a security system. You are a human being with emotions, dignity, and a heart that deserves to be held, not tested. Somewhere along the way, society conditioned women to believe that it's our responsibility to keep our man in check, as if love is some fragile thing that's constantly under threat, and we are the only ones who can protect it. But love doesn't need to be protected. It needs to be nurtured. And if it's real, if it's honest, if it's rooted in respect, it doesn't get swayed by outside attention. When a man truly values you, he doesn't just avoid crossing lines, he never even walks near them. Trying to guard a relationship becomes draining. You start doubting, second guessing, questioning yourself and him. You mistake your anxiety for instinct and turn into someone you never wanted to be. Someone who's constantly watching, wondering, worrying, and slowly you lose the joy of the relationship, not because someone took it from you, but because fear replaced peace. Love starts feeling like a job, a task, a fight. That's not love, that's survival. What many women don't realize is that stepping into the role of a guard instead of a partner creates an imbalance. It places all the emotional labor on your shoulders. You end up responsible not just for your feelings, but for his actions too. If he flirts, you wonder what you did wrong. If he lies, you think you weren't enough. That's a lie you've been fed, one you need to let go of now. Because a loyal man doesn't need to be watched, and a disloyal one doesn't deserve to be chased. Instead of guarding him, ask yourself, is he guarding this relationship with me? Is he showing up with presence, honesty, and respect? Does he make me feel safe without needing to demand it? Those are the questions that matter, because when a man chooses you every day, not out of fear or pressure, but out of love, that's when you know it's real. You can breathe, relax, exhale deeply into the warmth of that connection. That's what a real partnership gives you, security without suspicion. And if that's not what you have, then maybe it's time to reevaluate. Not because you failed to protect him from other women, but because he failed to protect what he had with you. It's not your fault if someone chooses to be blind to your value. It's not your fault if they entertain distractions over devotion. But it is your responsibility to protect your own heart when you see those red flags waving. There is nothing more beautiful than a woman who knows she's a partner, not a prisoner, who gives love without fear and expects the same in return. Who knows that she doesn't need to convince, beg, or battle for the respect she already deserves. And that kind of woman, she doesn't need to protect her husband from anyone, because her presence alone demands loyalty, and if he can't see that, then let him go. He was never strong enough to be her partner anyway. Inspire loyalty, don't chase it. That simple truth holds more power than any late night phone check, passive, aggressive silence, or tearful confrontation. Loyalty isn't something you force or demand. It's something you create through connection, consistency, and authenticity. You don't get loyalty by constantly questioning someone. You get it by being so grounded in your own truth that the only people who stay are the ones who want to. And when someone chooses to stay, not because they're afraid of consequences, but because they're inspired by the love they feel with you, that's where real commitment lives. But here's where many of us get it wrong. We think love is about proving our place in someone's life. We go above and beyond to please, to perform, to pour ourselves into someone who might not even be emotionally present. We try to earn faithfulness as if it's a prize for good behavior. We exhaust ourselves keeping someone interested when interest should be a natural result of shared values, mutual respect, and emotional intimacy. What we forget is this: if you have to chase loyalty, it's not real. It's convenience, it's fear, it's obligation, but it's not love. A man who is truly connected to you emotionally, mentally, and spiritually doesn't need constant reminders of your worth. He feels it. He sees it in the way you carry yourself, in the way you speak, in the way you don't beg for love. You embody it. That's what inspires loyalty. Not insecurity, not control, not sacrifice, but self-respect. When you know what you deserve and you operate from that inner power, you create a space where loyalty isn't expected, it's given freely, and if it's not given, you know how to walk away with your head held high. There's a big difference between guarding someone and growing with them. When you're in a relationship where you have to monitor every move, dissect every conversation, and anticipate every betrayal, you're not building a life, you're managing fear. But when you focus on emotional connection, on making your home a place of openness and honesty, that's when loyalty becomes organic. You don't force it, you live it, you lead with it. You become a mirror of the kind of love you wish to receive. Let's be honest, every relationship faces temptation. The world is full of distractions, of possibilities, of fleeting attention. But when a man feels safe with you, when he feels respected and seen and heard, he doesn't wander. Not because he's scared of consequences, but because he's fulfilled, because you make him feel like he belongs to something meaningful, something deeper than physical attraction. That kind of loyalty can't be chased, it's awakened. And still, some people will stray, even when you give your best, even when you inspire, uplift, support, love. When that happens, you don't question your worth. You don't compare yourself to the woman he turned to. You look in the mirror and remind yourself that someone's disloyalty says more about their emptiness than your inadequacy. Then you let go gracefully, because inspiring loyalty doesn't mean you'll always receive it. But it does mean you'll always leave with your dignity intact. So, don't lower your standards to keep someone close. Don't shrink your voice just to make them stay. Don't lose yourself trying to be enough for someone who doesn't even know how to value devotion. Instead, rise so high in your self-worth that loyalty is the only response someone who truly sees you can give. Because the woman who leads with strength and softness, who doesn't chase but simply is, that's the woman who commands hearts without ever having to demand them. Don't compete, elevate. That's a truth most women forget in the rush of insecurity and fear that comes when another woman steps into the picture. Whether real or imagined, we start comparing ourselves. Her hair, her laughter, her confidence, her body, we obsess over her presence, her influence, her proximity to our partner, and in doing so, we forget the most powerful truth of all. We were never born to compete, we were born to rise. You are not in a race with any woman. You are not on a stage being judged for your worth. You don't have to wear yourself out trying to be better than someone else just to keep someone you love close. The moment you believe you need to compete to be loved, you've already started losing, not to her, but to yourself, because love isn't a competition, it's a connection. And if someone you're with is making you feel like you have to fight for their attention, their loyalty, or their time, then the problem is not the woman, it's the man. Too many women exhaust themselves trying to keep up with someone else's highlight reel. They start altering who they are, softening their strength, changing their appearance, losing themselves just to outshine someone who may not even matter in the long run. But what if you stopped looking sideways and started looking inward? What if, instead of competing, you chose to elevate, not just the relationship, but yourself? Elevating means understanding that your energy is sacred. It means protecting your peace instead of proving your position. It's showing up every day as your best self, not because you're trying to be better than someone else, but because you refuse to be less than who you truly are. When you elevate yourself, you naturally raise the vibration of your relationship. You set a standard that says, This is the level I love from. This is the level I receive love on. Anything less is not mine to keep. A secure woman doesn't compete because she knows no one else can be her. Her essence can't be copied, her connection can't be replicated, her love can't be replaced. If another woman steps in and a man gets distracted, it's not because she's more. It's because he's less committed, less aware, less deserving. And she doesn't fight for that kind of attention. She doesn't chase what should be choosing her. She doesn't crumble. She climbs. She doesn't compare. She creates. When you stop competing and start elevating, you attract different energy. You draw respect instead of doubt. You create depth instead of drama. You radiate a kind of confidence that can't be shaken by a pretty face or a sweet voice. Because the truth is, a man who's deeply connected to you, who values the space you've built, the life you've nurtured, the soul you bring, he doesn't entertain distractions. He doesn't gamble something real for something temporary. And if he does, then that's his failure, not yours. So don't lower your crown for anyone. Don't beg for loyalty. Don't dim your light just to outshine another woman. Competing is survival. Elevating is power. And when you choose power, you stop trying to be the best in the room. You just become the best version of yourself. That's the woman no one forgets. That's the woman no one replaces. And that's the woman who doesn't just protect her relationship, she protects her spirit. If he looks elsewhere, the issue is him, not her. That's a truth most women need to tattoo on their hearts. Because when infidelity or emotional wandering happens, we're taught to turn our rage, our jealousy, our pain toward her, the other woman. We stalk her Instagram, we analyze her selfies, we replay what she said, how she looked, where he met her. We turn her into the villain of our story, but she's not the problem, he is. And until we see that clearly, we keep blaming the symptom instead of confronting the cause. Let's be honest, a man doesn't look elsewhere because of another woman's beauty, confidence, or presence. He looks elsewhere because something is missing within him, not within you. Loyalty isn't a response to pressure, it's a reflection of character. A man who is whole, grounded, and emotionally mature does not abandon his partner just because someone else appears more interesting, more available, or more flattering. He stays committed because he knows what commitment means. Not just in words, but in action. So when a man strays, don't turn against your worth. Don't question your beauty, your love, or the life you've built together. Don't punish yourself trying to figure out what you lacked. Because, here's the truth, if he stepped outside your relationship, it's because he lacked the strength to stay, not because you lacked anything at all. The moment you blame yourself for his betrayal, you allow his weakness to define your value, and that's not your burden to carry. And it's not hers either. You don't owe the other woman your energy. In most cases, she didn't make the promises he did. She didn't say, I do. She didn't build a home with you. And yes, sometimes women knowingly cross lines. But still, it is him who chose to open the door. And if he opened it once, he'll do it again not because of temptation, but because of who he is when no one is watching. So the real question becomes not why her, but why him. Why are you holding space in your life for someone who can't hold loyalty in his hands? Why are you breaking your own heart trying to fix someone who doesn't see the damage he's done? Why are you trying to compete with someone who should never have been part of the equation? See, the woman who chooses peace over war, clarity over chaos, and self-respect over fear, she doesn't chase explanations. She watches behavior. She listens to the silence between apologies. She understands that if someone can turn his back on love, he was never facing it to begin with. She refuses to shrink herself in comparison to someone else because she knows one truth deeply. If he can't see her value, it's his loss, not her failure. We have to stop fighting each other over men who aren't fighting to keep us. Stop being so quick to hate her that we forget to hold him accountable. You're not responsible for his choices. You're responsible for your boundaries, your peace, your healing. If he looks elsewhere, let him look. Let him chase distractions, illusions, fantasies, because you're not an option. You're not a backup plan. You're not a mistake waiting to happen. You're a standard, and the moment you realize that, you stop trying to protect your relationship from other women. Instead, you protect your soul from anyone who treats loyalty like a choice rather than a value. That's where your real power begins. Protect your peace before your relationship. That's a hard lesson, especially for women raised to believe that love means sacrifice. That a good wife bends, adjusts, forgives, even when her heart is bruised. We've been taught to hold the relationship above everything, even when the weight of it begins to suffocate us. But here's the truth no one told us soon enough. No relationship is worth the price of your inner peace. Not even the one you thought would last forever. When you're constantly anxious, walking on eggshells, wondering if you're enough, if he's loyal, if today will be another day of silent withdrawal or subtle betrayals, you're not protecting love. You're protecting chaos, and somewhere inside, a small voice starts to whisper, "What about me?" That voice is your peace calling you back to yourself. Because you've been so busy trying to save the relationship, you forgot to save the most important part you. Peace isn't silence, peace is clarity. It's the absence of confusion, it's waking up without fear. It's knowing that the love you're receiving is not performative or temporary, it's real. But when you spend your energy constantly decoding behavior, chasing reassurance, and fixing what you didn't break, you drain your soul. That kind of emotional labor doesn't strengthen a bond, it breaks you slowly. And no, that's not romantic, that's not loyalty, that's betrayal dressed up as devotion. Sometimes we get so focused on keeping someone else close that we drift far away from ourselves. We abandon our own needs. We ignore our own instincts. We turn red flags into decorations and call it endurance. We think if we just love harder, wait longer, give more, things will change, but peace doesn't come from effort alone, it comes from alignment. When two people are truly meant to walk together, it's not supposed to hurt this much. It's not supposed to feel like war every day. Protecting your peace means being honest about what is and isn't working. It means refusing to lose your joy just to keep someone from leaving. It's about choosing emotional safety over emotional drama, and that kind of strength isn't loud, it's quiet but powerful. It shows up in boundaries, in silent exits, in the refusal to argue with disrespect or chase after explanations that never come. It shows up when you decide that your mental health is not a price you're willing to pay for temporary companionship. That doesn't mean you stop caring, it doesn't mean you stop trying, but it does mean that when love costs you your sleep, your sanity, your self-esteem, you take a step back, not because you've given up, but because you've finally grown up. Because you know that no matter how beautiful the memories, how deep the connection, how long the history, nothing is more important than peace of mind. And if he can't protect it with you, if he's the reason you've lost it, then maybe he's not meant to be part of your future. Because the right relationship doesn't drain you, it doesn't compete with your healing, it contributes to it. It doesn't ask you to shrink, it helps you expand. So stop holding on to what's hurting you in the name of love. Protect your peace like your life depends on it, because in so many ways it does. Peace is not a privilege, it's a right. And any relationship that costs you that is too expensive to keep. Let your worth speak louder than your fears. Because fear will whisper lies into your ear. You're not enough. He might leave. What if she takes your place? Those fears will make you cling, beg, monitor, shrink. They'll have you dimming your light just to feel safe, bending over backwards just to keep someone close. But worth speaks from a deeper place. It doesn't beg, it doesn't chase, it doesn't compete. It knows that you are not defined by who chooses you, but by how you choose yourself. Every woman has moments where fear creeps in. Maybe you've seen a change in his behavior. Maybe you've caught him staring at someone else, laughing a little too much at another woman's joke. Maybe you've read the signs, but you're too afraid to confront them. Because deep down, you worry that confronting the truth might mean losing the man you love. So instead, you hold it in, you smile through the anxiety, you fix your hair, your attitude, your schedule, anything to feel like you're still in control. But you're not in control, fear is, and that's where everything starts to break down, because when fear runs your relationship, love can't breathe. You start performing instead of connecting. You start sacrificing instead of sharing. You become a version of yourself that you don't even recognize, so consumed with protecting the relationship that you forget to protect your spirit. And in doing so, you abandon the most magnetic, powerful part of you, your self-worth. But when your worth takes the lead, everything shifts. You stop trying to be better than the next woman. You stop apologizing for having standards. You stop tolerating disrespect in the name of love. You carry yourself differently. You walk into rooms knowing that your energy is enough, your presence is enough, your love is enough, and if someone doesn't see that, that's their blindness, not your failure. Letting your worth speak louder than your fears means you stop explaining why you deserve respect. You start expecting it, not with arrogance, but with quiet confidence. You don't need to scream. You don't need to prove. You just are. A woman who knows her value doesn't compete for loyalty. She doesn't fight to keep what should already be hers. She becomes the kind of woman who is remembered, respected, and cherished, not because she demanded it, but because she embodied it. Sometimes the reason you're still hurting isn't because someone left. It's because you've been shrinking your worth to make space for someone's absence. You've been negotiating with your standards to keep someone comfortable. But love isn't meant to be built on fear. It's meant to feel safe, expansive, true. If you have to lower your volume to keep a man, then you're not being loved. You're being managed. The woman who leads with fear tries to hold on. The woman who leads with worth learns to let go, and in that letting go, she finds her power, because nothing is more attractive than a woman who doesn't fear being alone, who isn't afraid of truth, and who knows that peace is not found in someone else's arms, it's found in her own alignment. So, let your worth be the voice that answers every fear. Let it remind you that you are not here to beg for attention, permission, or presence. You are here to be chosen freely, and until that happens, you will not lower your light to fit into someone else's shadow. Because the moment you let your worth speak louder, you'll stop chasing loyalty and start attracting it.